Alright guys, we're going to continue on our Mazooks project here. Now, before we get to the showcase, there's one thing that I forgot to do in the last video. If we go ahead and we make this smaller, you'll see that the hamburger menu here is not working. The reason for that is I forgot to add a couple attributes onto the button. Okay, so this button right here, the navbar toggler, it also needs to have an attribute of data toggle. So we're going to say data toggle, and we want to set that to collapse. And then we also want to set a data target, and we want to set that to this right here, the navbar nav ID. So right here we'll say number sign navbar nav. Excuse me. So now if we go and we click it, now it works. Okay, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Now we can continue on to our showcase. Now for the showcase, we're going to have a background image, which is going to be this mountain image right here from Pexels.com. Also, we're going to use this mock-up from, what is this, deepyellow.net/one-poster-mockup. You can go ahead and download it. I would suggest getting it from the image from the files, the project files, because this is actually a PSD, and I edited it a little bit. I took the background out. I cropped it a little bit. So unless you want to do that yourself, then just get it from the project files. All right, so I'm going to throw those in. So let's go to source and images, and I'm just going to grab those real quick. Okay, paste those in. So I called the mockup book.png, the mountains.jpg. All right, so let's go below the nav. That's where we're going to have our showcase, and we'll just go ahead and put a comment in here and say showcase. And we're going to start here by putting a section. Okay, section's going to have an ID of showcase, and it's going to have a class of py-5, which will do 5 padding on the top and bottom. We're also going to have an overlay. I don't want it to be just the image. I want it to have a nice blue overlay. So we're going to have a class of primary overlay. And we're also going to give it a class of text white. Okay, and then in there is where we're going to have our container, which will push everything to the middle. And we're going to have a grid, so let's give it a row class. And as far as the columns, we're going to do, on large screens, we're going to do 6 and 6. And small screens, we're going to do 12. It's going to be one straight column. So let's do a col LG 6, and then we'll say col SM 12. And then let's also make everything to the center. So we'll say text center. Okay, and then for the other side, same thing. I'll just copy this, except we don't need the text center. So in this column here, what we're going to do is have an H1, and I'm going to give this a display class of display-2, and let's also give it a class of MT5, so margin top 5. And then also PT5. I'm going to give it padding top 5 as well. So that's going to be the H1, and it's going to say do what you dream of. So let's say do what you dream of, and we'll put some dots here. And then let's see, under that H1 we're going to have a paragraph, and we'll give it the lead class to kind of make it a little bigger. And let's say lorem, I'll do lorem 10. That should be good. Let's just save that so far. So we're not going to see it because of the white background. We haven't added the background yet. So let's go ahead and put a link under this. So we're going to put an A tag here, and we're going to format it as a button. So we'll say BTN, and let's use an outline class. So we're going to do BTN outline. Let's say outline secondary, which is going to make it gray. And let's make it large, so we'll say btn-large, and we're also going to give it a class of text white because I want the actual text to be white. Okay, and this actually isn't going to go anywhere, so I'm just going to put a number sign. And then inside of that, we're going to say read more, and I also want to put a font awesome icon, so we're going to put an I tag with the class of FA, and let's also do FA-arrow-right. Alright, we'll just put a space after the I tag. Okay, and then on the other side, excuse me, I can clear my throat. So on the other side, we're going to have the mock-up, the book. So let's do an image, and for the source, we'll say image/book.png. That's what I called it. And let's see, we're going to give it a class. Let's give it a class of image fluid. And what I want to do is I want to hide it when it's on medium-sized screens or less. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll add the class hidden -md-down. So it's saying it's going to be hidden on medium screens or less, or down. Okay, and that's it. So let's save it, and that's the markup. So now let's take care of the CSS. So we're going to go to style.scss, and let's go, let's see, we'll go right under the nav bar, and let's do our ID of showcase. Okay, so we're going to do a position relative. And let's do our background image. So we'll say background-image, set it to URL. Path is going to be /img/mountains.jpg. Okay, and we're going to set a min height on that of 600 pixels. All right. So if we save that, it's going to look like this. Now, that's not what I want. I want to have a blue overlay of this instead of just having this, the straight image. Remember, we had that class of primary overlay. So we're going to grab that. And I guess we could put this, we could nest this inside of Showcase. I guess we should do that. And let's see, we're going to give it a background color. Now remember, we have that blue color as a variable of primary. Is it primary? Actually, you know what? For the overlay, it's going to be an RGB because we want to include opacity as well. So let's go up here and say, we'll say primary dash overlay. We'll create a special variable for that, which will be an RGBA value. And the numbers for this are going to be 50, 146, 166, and then for the opacity we'll do 0.8. Okay, and then down here for the background color it'll be primary overlay. Alright, now for the overlay we need to position it absolute. We got to get it to cover the entire space, the entire image. So we want to start it from top left. So we'll say top 0, left 0, and of course we want it to span the whole thing. So width 100 and height 100. Good. Let's save, and there we go. So now we have a nice overlay over the image. Now in the last video I told you I wanted to change the bootstrap variable for primary. Because right now, just to show you, I'm just going to create a button real quick. I'm going to delete this after, but I'm just going to say btn-primary, and we'll just say hello, save it. Now this is the default color for the primary, but what we're going to do is go into node modules, go into our bootstrap, into the source. Let's see, where the hell is it? Bootstrap, and then we're going to go into SCSS and then variables.scss. And what I'm going to do here is scroll down, and I want to use this this teal color right here. I want to use this variable, but I actually want the color to be a little different, so I'm going to change the hex value. All right, so I'm going to change it to what is it? 329.2A6. Okay, that's going to be the color of this teal variable. And then what I'm going to do is go down to where we have brand primary and change it from blue to teal. Okay, so now anything that has primary in it is going to be teal, whether it's a button or a BG primary, anything at all. Also, I want to take away any border radius. By default, when we use a card, for example, it's going to have a little border radius. So for that, let's do a search for border radius. And right here, we want to change the defaults here. So from 0.25 REM, I'm going to change it to 0. I'm going to change all of these to 0. That way we don't have any rounded corners. All right. So let's save that. Now it's not going to kick in right away. You'll see if I reload, it's still that color blue. When we change the Bootstrap source like that, we actually need to restart the server. So let's go ahead and do that. Control C, and let's go ahead and restart. And now look at the button. There's no rounded corners, and it's that teal, that greenish color. All right, so we now have a custom version of Bootstrap. So let's get rid of that button. I just wanted to use that as an example. So now that we have our showcase, in the next video, we're going to work on the newsletter form, newsletter section underneath here, and then we're going to move on to the boxes. All right, so I will see you in the next video.